So our creator has a lot of notebooks, books and clutter. However, our creator is finding it hard to dispose of some things they've been holding on to all these years. They doesn't want to throw them away because they might be important someday. They think that, oh, I might write about this someday. That day never came, so here we are. So instead, creator will keep the items in their possession and forget about them very often. So we, the first gen, make it our goal to bring these old timers to life. Childhood notebooks, journals, raw emotions, feelings. Will be a library, a legacy, a safe place for all these vulnerable artifacts. The rest of you can come by anytime. That's what I want to do for my segments. We can start now, actually. So this is the notebook we'll be tinkering with today. It was written when creator was young and foolish. Why, look at that. This is a little collection of quotes. I'll go ahead and read these. Do note that some of these quotes do not have names attached to them. I don't know who to credit. I'm reading straight out of the person's old teenage self notebook. Well, here it goes. This is the cover of the notebook. An adorable design with many L's. However, what's with the tape? I could barely read the words anymore since they've faded. I think it was supposed to be cute stick drawings and inspiring text. Do these drawings even mean anything? Oh well, let's see if there's any more interesting material inside. Guys, I found this page full of quotes. I'm going to give them all a single read through before talking about them. A bit of a lore reveal, but we in the first gen do not actually know how to read text from your real world. We can only read them if they are on the internet. But still, we try to find meaning where possible. Reading the thing in 3, 2, 1. I don't write easily or rapidly. My first draft usually has only a few elements worth keeping. I have to find what those are and build from them and throw out what doesn't work or what simply is not alive. By Susan Sontag. I would say that it applies perfectly to writers. They are constantly rewriting, revising, changing everything until something works. Sometimes writers get stuck in a rut, unable to move forward. This quote also reminds me that while writers love to experiment and create new worlds, sometimes it takes a long time to achieve success. Rome was not built in a day after all. Second quote, okay, I am all sorts of scissors. I believe more in the scissors that I do in the pencil by Truman Capote. I think this quote shows us that creativity comes easy for most people, but some struggle to express themselves. It makes one realize that everyone has an idea locked away somewhere deep within them. Most of the best stories ever told were not created overnight. Many authors take decades to perfect their craft. In fact, great literature requires patience and perseverance. One must put in the effort over time. Throw up into your typewriter every morning. Clean up every noon. This quote is from Raymond Chandler. Art is chaotic and messy. That's where the fun and creativity is. Once the draft gets down on paper, then editing begins. This quote is so vivid due to its daring imagery. I don't think I'll forget about this one anytime soon. Good writing is essentially rewriting. I am positive of it. I rolled doll. The best advice I couldn't give on is this: once it's done, to put it away until you can read it with new eyes. Finish the short story, print it out, then put it in a drawer and write other things where you were. When you are ready, pick it up and read it as you've never read it before. If there are things you are unsatisfied with as a reader, go in and fix them as a writer. That's Revision by Neil Gaiman. On to the next page. It is a page full of Neil Gaiman quotes. Not sure which ones are Neil Gaiman's and where does it end? Neil Gaiman quotes. Have you ever been in love? Horrible, isn't it? It makes you so vulnerable. It opens your chest and it opens up your heart, and it means that someone can get inside you and mess you up. I've known ambitious people with no aptitude for the thing they did, most of whom rather terrifyingly tended to succeed. The first author I remember being obsessed by actually realizing I like the way he writes and I like the way he tells stories was C.S. Lewis and the Narnia books. Sometimes the best way to learn something is by doing it wrong and looking at what you did. You get ideas from daydreaming. You get ideas from being bored. You get ideas all the time. The only difference between writers and other people is we notice when we are doing it. Things need not have happened to be true. Tales and adventures of the shadow, truths that will endure when mere facts are dust and ashes and forgotten. It has always been the prerogative of children and half-wits to point out that the emperor has no clothes, but the half-wit remains a half-wit, and the emperor remains an emperor. Write your story as it needs to be written, write it honestly and tell it as best that you can. I'm not sure that there are any other rules, not ones that matter. Make good art. I am a fairly undisciplined writer. The world always seems brighter when you've just made something that was there before. That moment you feel that just possibly you are walking down the street naked, that's the moment you may be starting to get it right. As far as I'm concerned, the entire reason for becoming a writer is not having to get up in the morning. I started writing when I was 20-21. Maybe. Think of myself as a very lazy author. Author Neil Gaiman, like C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, and Carol Lewis also would like to write a play, Weird Duck Snake with Spines. Okay. Next, just called WP in this beat in the inspiration one day pit. You will be part of my life and I won't be part of yours. Maybe we'll live on opposite sides of the world. Maybe we'll live 2 inches apart. We'll be different. We'll be grown up. And maybe we won't recognize each other. We won't talk and won't look each other in the eye. But I'll remember this day, this moment, and every moment when I'll fall in love with the sky. Part of me will always fall in love with you. Like hurricanes, by life artistically. Tiny B, be gentle with yourself. You're doing the best you can, be patient, good things take time. The first rule of kindness is to be kind to yourself. The secret of a long life, laughter. The secret of a long-lasting relationship, laughing together. A little less judgment, a little more love, to the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Cut yourself some slack, you're doing better than you think. The sign of a beautiful person is that they always see the beauty in others. Slow down, calm down. Don't worry. Don't hurry. Trust the process. So that's all the quotes. I think my segment is about to end, but we'll still explore on the contents of this notebook on the next video. This notebook contains even more personal, raw emotions. Thank you for listening to me today. You are awesome.